The Medrash tells us in this week's Parsha that God cares more about the discussion of the servants of the Avos more than the Torah of the sons. Because the Parsha of Eliezer, finding a wife for Yitzchak, is repeated, but the laws of creepy insects, are major parts of the Torah. That's only learned out from an extra letter. So says the Medrash, because God cares more about the conversation of even the servants of the Avos more than even halachas. So the question is, we find by Avraham Avinu, it says, Eikav asher shama Avraham b'koli. Because Avraham Avinu listened to my voice, Hashem says, that we see from here that Avraham Avinu kept the whole Torah. Yeah. But Chesed, we have a whole discussion in Parshas Vayera that the Torah discusses at length his fulfilling the mitzvah of Chesed. But the fact that Avraham Avinu kept the whole Torah, that's only learned out from the extra word, that since Avraham Avinu listened to my voice. But when it comes to Chesed, the Torah doesn't just learn it out from an extra letter. The Torah discusses at length, the Parshas Vayera, how much he went with alacrity to perform the mitzvah of Chesed. So it could be that the answer could be because the Torah wants to show us how important midos is. It's something that a person needs to work on all the time. People always test your midos, and the Torah discusses at length because it's a very, very, very important inyan. That's why the Torah at length discusses Avraham Avinu's midos, but other halachos. You have a question?
Is that why the midah is alacrity? You're saying? That's
What to do the mitzvah of Chesed, which is very hard sometimes. Especially for people who give you a hard time. But if Avraham Avinu didn't just do it, he did it with alacrity.
Let's hear your story.
I'm sorry?
You have a story?
I don't. No. Okay. So, but when it discusses the milah of Avraham Avinu in the beginning of Parshas Vayera, again, I'm sorry. What's the connection between the milah of Avraham Avinu and the Chnasas Orchim in the beginning of Parshas Vayera? Milah in the end of Lech Lecha, and Chnasas Orchim in the beginning of Parshas Vayera. In the end of Parshas Shoftim, we have the story of the Eglah Arufa. Max, you know what that is? Eglah Arufa, of course. What does that have to do with anything? Where does this come about? So, in that Parsha Shoftim, which discusses the Eglah Arufa, the beginning of the Parsha is this discussion about war. Even though it's a Mechamas mitzvah, it's a mitzvah to have a war. It's not talking about stam, you make a war because you don't like the guy. It's talking about a Mechamas mitzvah, but it's a mitzvah to have a war with this nation. It's Amalek or some other Mechamas mitzvah. But since a person's acting cruel, he's killing people, so the Torah puts the story of Eglah Arufa, which teaches us the chashivos, the importance of human life. Even one life is so important. The Torah makes the whole story and is myrich at length discusses Eglah Arufa to show us this idea that a person shouldn't get carried away with war and lose the chashivos, the value for human life. So that's why the Torah in the end of Parshas Shoftim discusses Eglah Arufa. What's it coming now all of a sudden? Because it has to do with war. You shouldn't get so carried away with war that they forget about human life. So the story of Eglah Arufa comes and helps us understand the chashivas of human life. That could be it's what's happening over here with Milah. If Avraham Avinu goes ahead and circumcises everybody in his house, therefore, right afterwards, the Torah says, no. Don't think Avraham Avinu did it because he didn't care about them. He made sure everybody was circumcised. You shouldn't think, if I have to be circumcised, you all have to be circumcised. That wasn't what's going on. He cared about everybody. he made everybody get circumcised because that's what they were supposed to do. He cared about them and he wanted them to have a bris. Not because if I have a bris, you're gonna have a bris. No, he cared about them. Where do you see that? The Torah puts the story of Chesed right after Avraham Avinu circumcising himself and the rest of his household to show that the milah that he made them do isn't because he didn't care about them. On the contrary, he cared about them. That's why the Torah puts the story of Chesed right afterwards to show that he didn't have any cruelty, and everything he did was only because he cared about them. What does that have to do with our Parsha? That's what's happening. Eliezer was told to find a wife for Yitzchak only from the family and not from the daughters of Canaan, even though they were right there. Even though the mishpacha that he married into, namely his mishpacha, they did avodah zarah. At the end of the day, they had good midos. If you commit avodah zarah, that can be changed. If you have bad midos, it's very hard to change character traits. It's very hard to change even one midah. But if you have bad hashkafas, that you can work on. You realize the falsehood of avodah zarah, and you realize the Torah's emes that we have. But midos, that's panemius, that's the inside. That's much harder to change than chitzonius, than the outside. That's why Avraham Avinu was only able to become a mechutin with a family that had good midos tovos. That's why Eliezer was told that he can only marry Yitzchak to such a good family. So now we understand how we started off. What was this idea that the Torah cared so much about the story of Eliezer? More than teaching us, in halachas, we learn that from an extra vav. Why do we spend so much time in this story? So one of the answers is that we learn out from this story the importance of midos. Because the Torah stresses that Eliezer told Avraham told Eliezer to find a girl that have good midos. Eliezer told this to them. Why? Why do we stress that? Because midos tovos is a very, 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 very important midah, and I proved that from the connection between midos and milah, and the connection of egla rufa and mechama. All stressing this idea, the importance of midos. And that's why the Torah spends so much time. And that's the deep meaning of the Chazal that says that the Torah cares so much about this dialogue of Eliezer more than even halachas. Because we learn out great Musar, ethical midos Torahs from the story, how much the Torah cares about having proper midos.